fascist. So fascism is moving in. As you mentioned, what they do in all these third world countries to beat down the people from revolting. The same revolting thing has happened here when on New Year's Eve, President Obama signed in to law the National Defense Authorization Act that they are going to do everything they can to prevent the people from rebelling against the bank takeover.
Let me ask you a question, Gerald. As the money runs out, as they were announcing last week, they've already raided all the federal pension funds, so the IOUs are even, being issued there. You're not going to get the money, and what little bit you do get, it's going to be devalued. What's going to happen with all the minions of the system? I mean, I see articles every day where a guy's walking his dog in a place that's been a dog park forever and says, look, I'm leaving. So the park service that's annexed the park that I've been to in California tasers him in the back, or they arrest a 6-year-old for playing tag and touching somebody on the leg. And then I found out they arrest you if you run at recess, and the Associated Press reports it with a straight face like it's good. Well, you could fall down and hurt yourself. And now TSA is now announcing they're going to be in the parking lots at the airports and on your street corners. I mean, again, it's like a bad movie. It'd be like if you made a joke about a cartoon-level police state. And all these minions of the system, they've hired every malcontent who couldn't get a job, at McDonald's, and they're like these addled, moron, gibbering, pot-bellied control freaks. I mean, do they have any idea what's going to end up happening here?
No, as I said, this is what happens in a third world nation. That's when it runs out of control like this. Hey, listen, Alex, last night I spent 2.5 hours watching the returns coming in from Florida. Painful. You have to devote your life to watching this kind of crap. You want to talk about minions? How about all those clowns clapping and cheering on bad cue from Gingrich and Romney? And I have to tell you, I'm sick and tired of their families being rolled out. I don't care about your family. I hire somebody to do a job. How good are you doing the job? I don't care who your kid is. And they're all out there, and one after another. And then the scene of Gingrich's wife always staring at him adoringly.
That's the next point. They tell him to stand behind him, and I've talked to the politicians, they tell and to all look exactly at them like they're God and just go, and everyone's being real fake, going, it's so, And I mean, look at Romney. I mean, Gingrich is bad too, but Romney raiding, destroying companies, globalist, getting bailout money, all of this, and he acts like he creates jobs. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, again, you're right. He did create jobs, and he brags about it. He created jobs for Staples and Sports Authority. You can have a wonderful career there. I mean, there's a place for you to stock shelves. Or how about one of those wonderful cashier jobs where you could put things in bags and then hand them to people and say, thank you, have a nice day. Oh, and Sports Authority, the same thing. Wonderful. He put out of business all those people that used to own stationery stores. He put out of business all those people that used to own sporting goods stores. A corporate greedy vulture. That's all they are, one after another. And you asked about the minions? They clap like little kids. I told you, the worst job I ever had was when I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I'd be BSing with my buddy in the back of the chamber, a young guy, my 20s. All of a sudden, the senator would walk in. My buddy would leave me like a little puppy dog, pull out the chair, and help the senator sit down. He'd come back. I said, what's the matter, man? The cat can't sit down by himself. He needs some help. That's all this is. It's losers sucking up and bowing down, hoping to move up the ladder a little bit. Whether it's those fat boys that you were talking about with the pot bellies that so bravely taser people or beat the hell out of them with their billy clubs while I got 80 of their buddies around with them, or those little creeps on TV clapping and cheering at every lame word that spews out of the greedy vultures' mouths. And one more thing, and I want to make this really clear. I am, as you well know, a political atheist. I do not believe in anybody's political gods, and I am sick and tired of turning on the television and watching Ari Fleischer, that creep that worked for George Bush, that got us into the Iraq War. You remember him. If you're not with us, you're against us. Him. And all of these other ones, that guy Carville, the Clinton creator, that cat's from another planet, man. And one after another telling me that I have to believe in their political God. I am tired of these missionaries out on the street telling me that I have to believe in their political religion. These are false religions. These are false gods. They are political gods that are corrupting the entire system.
And you notice there's one guy who points out that it's a fantasy land, one real candidate, so they give him the least amount of time, they demonize him, they say he can't win, and the bumper stickers are everywhere, everybody's endorsing him. There's clearly, they caught him in South Carolina and Iowa, there's fraud. Ron Paul is definitely right in second, probably even first place from what I've seen. It turned out Mitt Romney and Gingrich have to pay most of the people to be at their events. There was an article, 92% Gingrich got caught of his tweets are fake. They can't even get audiences. Take MSNBC, their biggest shows might have 1 million. Fox, a couple million. It's incredible. My show has millions of listeners, Gerald. You have millions of people that follow what you're doing. But their advertising is $20,000 a minute, and mine's $300 because I don't have big multinational corporations paying a tithe not to get a response back on products, but to shove propaganda down people's throats. This is what they are doing. It's fake. It's a paper tiger. And that's what I wanted to raise for you next. Your take on where the stuff is happening with Ron Paul and the fact I see it as a good sign that they're trying to bring in open internet censorship, open arrest of citizens, and disappearing us into black holes. It's really waking people up. You've got zombies and paid people that go clap for Gingrich and you know, Romney and the rest of them. But they're getting deeper into mind control. But the other group, what I'm seeing is a separation happening. Those that are awake are waking up at a deeper level, and more people than ever are apologizing to myself. Talk shows I go on, people in the streets. I mean, folks now are really starting to get it, and they're really going to wake up when they lose everything.
They will. But again, let's go back to where we are. We're stuck in this political fundamentalism, that we have only the choice of very bad and very terrible. What kind of self-respecting adult would say when they go to the polls on election day, I voted for the lesser of two evils? It's a fundamentalism. This is what I'm trying to say. You have all these missionaries out there throwing their crap on top of you, trying to convince you why you should believe in those political gods. What's going to happen? I believe, you know, I used to run political campaigns. That's how I began my career in Westchester County in New York. And at the time, that was the richest county in the world. And I have to tell you, I'm disappointed in the way Ron Paul's campaign is being run, and particularly with him, in the sense that he has to get out there and fight. And the staging is terrible that they use for him. At one of the ones, I think it was after South Carolina, there's a little 12-year-old kid clapping at every stupid word, every word. And it has to become more serious, and it's unfocused. And people that I know that like him are having difficulty grabbing onto it that are ready to change.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, Ron Paul's in the arena. We support him. He's done a lot. His people are exhausting him, I think, with all this retail stuff. He needs to attack dog, tell the people during the questions to shut up and stop censoring me, and just call the others out for the scum they are. But again, he's a doctor. He's a gentleman. He's 76 years old. I mean, but the fact is that...
Listen, I'm 65 years old. And I don't care who it is. I don't care how old they are. I'm not going to take their crap if they lay it on me.
I hear you.
I'm respectful to everybody. But when they become disrespectful to me, it's another story.
Oh, I agree. No,
and we're talking about running the United States of America here. And he has to stand up and speak out. Romney BSing about, I created these jobs.
All right, let me stop you right there because I know you don't have a lot of time, and I want to ask you this question. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes here, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Let's say you're Ron Paul, and you've got Romney, the corporate shill, Kendall, and you've got Gingrich, the demonic goblin, and they're right there. What do you say to them? You're Ron Paul.
I'd say, first of all, to Romney, I should stop the crap about the jobs you created. You put every mom and pop out of business from the businesses that you gobbled up. And I'm sick and tired of you dragging out your family and telling how much better you are than anybody else. And for you, Gingrich, I heard enough of your crap to last me a lifetime. You're nothing but a blowhard, and you've been feeding off the public trough your whole life, and it shows. And you have no solutions for doing anything other than throwing your arrogance out here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm bringing the troops home. I'm going to cut the military down to size. And I also disagree with Ron Paul. We need regulations. I got F by MF Global. It's not as though you're going to let the corporations run free and they're going to be so kind and generous. So, no, he has to stand. And he's talked enough about the Fed. The average person doesn't understand it. The people that support him already got it.
Okay, that's good. Now, if I was Ron Paul, this is what I would say. Number one, in every debate I've been given the least amount of time, the least amount of coverage, and you keep saying I can't win. That's insulting the voters and viewers out there. So stop playing mind control. This isn't a real debate. Study Lincoln Douglas. Study debates 50 years ago. Study an hour of Nixon and Kennedy really going at each other. That's a real debate, okay? Stop controlling everything. That's what I'm going to say, number one. Number two, let's talk about you, Romney. It's on record that you've supported and pushed abortion. Now you say you want to ban it. Regardless of which side we're on, you're a liar and a deceiver and different for every audience. You say you're against carbon taxes, but in the past, you actually supported it. You say you're against Obamacare. You are the model of what they ended up going with, because it's actually a fascist model where it forces people to buy insurance and lets the government control the type of care and control doctors. I could go on and on with you about your flip-flopping and deception and how Bain Capital came in and bought up profitable companies and sold them off and fired everybody and bought things up for pennies on the dollar. I could also talk about the fact that you're involved in so many other forms of corruption, and the last head of Bain Capital, which you're still